Hello guys, this is TJ, and in today's video we are going to create a game in Unity. So this is a beginner friendly tutorial, and we are going to create 10 games, 10 videos in this series. It's completely beginner friendly. We are going to learn a lot of things. We are going to have fun. We are going to like see every aspect of Unity. So let's get started with it. So if you don't know anything, so this is a scene. Okay, so this is the main game. We are going to create a game in the scene, right? And you can preview this using the game screen. And here's the camera. So what is the camera? Camera is mainly, you can say, it is the recorder. Like if you have a phone, it has a camera, right? So you can record things using it. So this is mainly like a recorder and something you can take it as that. So here we see a solid color option. So here you can see a background option. Here you can see we can choose a color for a background of a game. So I'm going to select black because our game has a black background color. So here we have a font. It's very easy to import assets into Unity. You just need to drag and drop. So I just drag and drop it. Okay, I'm gonna link the font asset in the description. So for the so let's start with the creating the scene. So we know that the game has a slide like a barrier and two bars. Okay, one is for the enemy and one is for us. So let's create sprite. So for sprite, you just need to right click on the hierarchy. This is the hierarchy where there are all the objects are present. So first of all, you need to create a 2D object. You need to go 2D object and go sprites. Like sprites meaning images. Or you can take it as that. And we're gonna go with square because our player is a square like rectangle, but you wanna take it as a square. And then we go here. You select this option, right? And then you just increase its size, right? We can increase its size. Okay. Okay, maybe reduce it a little bit. Yeah, this is good, right? So, and I'm also going to change the aspect ratio, which means the resolution. I'm going to change the resolution. I'll change the resolution now. I'm going to reduce its this one, right? Okay. Now set its position to 0 maybe. Sorry, right. It's here. Set it to 0 here. Okay. Okay, it's pretty good. So now what we need to do is we will copy this and we will right click on this and you will get a you need to rename it and then rename it to player, right? Okay. Now just right click it and you just copy it and just paste it. Right. Now we get now you can rename it and name it enemy because they both have the same shape, so we can copy and paste it. So now you can see here we get it. Okay. Wait a second. Nice. So everything is good. Everything is good. So now we need a ball, right? Because in the game we have a ball, so we can take it as a square because and its position should be 0 because it should be in between the player and it should be in between, right? So both should be equally split. So we can set the position here as -8 and we can set this as 8. Okay, set the position to 0. Nice. Now we are gonna have a barrier, small barrier. We are gonna create a small barrier. Okay, it's just for visual representation, nothing else. Okay. Now you can see the order layer here. So if you reduce the order, then it will get behind the behind everything, right? The order layer decides uh, what is like the its order in the scene. Like okay, so now let's rename it. You can rename it to the barrier, right? And rename the square to the wall. Okay. Now we are going to give it a rigid body. So rigid body is a component. So what are components? So components are just components give this object what to do. So like the sprite can give the object a shape and size and structure, and the rigid body will give it the ability to have gravity and physics. So first of all, we are gonna remove the gravity. We remove this, and we are gonna have rigid body 2D because it's a 2D object, right? So we are gonna change the gravity scale to 0 because there's no gravity in that. And now what we need to do is we will create a physics material. Create. We're gonna create and you're gonna go and see where is physics material. Create 2D. You're gonna 2D and you're gonna see here physics material 2D. So that it will help us tell how it will interact with objects. It's like a material for physics. So here we're gonna set the friction and bounciness to 1, like 1. Sorry, like 1. We'll see how it gets it with it and just get it. Now here you're gonna see we attach the rigid body 2D with the material with the rigid body 2D. So now everything is like set up. Now we're gonna do scripting like coding. So that we're gonna tell the through scripting we tell the objects how to function and how to interact. How if we interact the player how they need to respond to that interaction. Right. So we're gonna create a folder. The folder helps us to get organized. Right. We're gonna go scripts. Yeah. And then you want to create and then scripting go mono behavior script and name it movement. Okay. That's it. Okay. So now when you're gonna script, you're gonna get the script on the Visual Studio Code. If you don't have Visual Studio Code, you have to install it. So now we have to learn about variables, but we need variables for the script. So if you don't know variables, so variables are just a container that can store a multiple value, that can store multiple value or a single value, and the value of a variable can change. That's a specialty of a variable. Okay. So and whatever we don't, we can take as a variable in math, but in here it's like a container and that can change. So we can create a variable. So how we create a variable is we're gonna go public float speed and that will be 5. We can set it to whatever we want. So this is going to be the speed of the player movement. So what does public mean? So public means through the public through writing public we refer that it can be used in other scripts and going to appear in inspector. And float means that it's a like it's a number, it's a decimal number. It can be like a decimal number or it can even be a decimal number or a integer, right? And through speed we can set it to anything speed or like whatever we want, speed or speed player. The name doesn't matter in a variable, but we have to refer it to the scene. Okay. So now what does void update mean? So the void update is called once per frame, meaning it's called every frame, like every meaning every like all the time. Like it's called all the time. And void start is called just once when the like we start the game. So now we are also going to create another variable that is public float. Sorry, vertical input because you only need a vertical input, right? Up and down input. Because in the game we can control the we control the like player vertical, right? So now we have figured it out. So now in the void update, we are going to set vertical input to input dot get access vertical. So if you are confused, we can set it to raw. Walk better movement. Wait a second. Right. So now what does this mean? Right. So whatever is written is a little complicated. Return the value of virtual access identified by access name with no smooth filter applied. Okay. So now through this function, we are saying that input means like we are through input we are referring to the input system. Now input dot get access raw vertical means that we are getting the vertical access. Meaning if we click the up key, then the vertical input is going to be 1, and if we click the down key, the vertical access is going to be -1 because like the vertical input is going to get set to that. I'm going to show it to you in the inspector. And then we are going to set the transform the position, meaning the position of a player. So transform stores the value of our position, rotation, and size. Okay. So transform position will be like plus is equals to new vector 3, like the transform position should be increased by the value. We are going to get new vector 3 has 3 points. It can store 3 values, x, y, and z. Okay, it stores three values, x, y, and z. So the x-axis is going to be set to the x-axis is going to get set to -8 because our is -8 axis -8 always. Now the y-axis is going to get set to vertical input into speed. Yeah, if the speed is increased, then we can set if we want to increase the speed, we can set it in the vector, and then time to delta time for smoother movements, right? If we include time to delta time, it leads to smoother movements, right? So that's the great thing. So now we see the script. So guys, I made a small mistake here. So like instead of adding by mistake, I added -8 to the like x-axis, but we need to add 0, right? Because it's called per frame, and if you are adding -8 per frame, then like it's not good. So sorry. So now I go to your status script. So now what we are going to do, we are going to add the component movement, right? So if you ask for the components are just tell the game object to do things, right? So the transform is like telling the object to get a position, rotation, and scale. The sprite is telling it to get a shape, right? Get a sprite, and the movement is telling it to move. So now let's run the script and see if it's working or not. So when I'm gonna clear, so you have to click the up key, right, and down key, so we can control it now. Okay. So maybe this is your first script. So like, congrats. So like you can see the movement is a little bit slow, so you can increase the speed of that. Now also you can see here when I'm clicking the up, when I'm clicking the up key, the vertical input is getting to 1, and when I'm clicking the down key, the vertical input is to -1. So the input dot get access raw is doing that. So you have also got the functions. So now let's get to the next part. So now what we need to do is create some like barriers on the upper side, right? So we are going to go to object right, I'm going to go on square, create a square, go here, give it a collider. So what is a collider? If you ask, so collider is like collider gives a collider has just to like get rid of let's get on with the collisions, right? So we can identify when two objects collide, right? And handle the collisions. We are going to give it a solid box collider 2D. We have to add a box collider 2D, right? And add a box collider and a rigid body. So rigid body because rigid body handles the physics, right? So we're going to create a square. Then give it a rigid body 2D. Give it a collider for collisions. Handle collisions, right? Now set up and now copy paste it and get it on the other side. Nice. Get it here. Also here. Nice. So now we're gonna rename them. Okay. Now give the player a collider. Give the enemy a collider. Give the ball a collider. And give them also a rigid body. Set them. And after setting them, you can change their like change their components together. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna set all the gravity scales to 0. Set them to 0. There, this one also. And then you're gonna constrain them to freeze their rotation and their positions. To freeze their rotations and positions. Not freeze the and freeze the ball's rotation. The player enemy's rotation and the player's rotation too. Okay. Now what we're gonna do. So what we're gonna do is also code the enemy and we're gonna get a score system and everything. So now let's like code the ball. Let's code the ball and let's code the enemy. Okay, so now let's code the enemy script. So it's very easy to code the enemy script. Okay, like it's not that difficult. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a public float that's gonna be speed. So if you want to set difficulty high, if you want to set the speed higher, we're gonna set the difficulty low, we want to set the speed lower. And we want to set the public game object, public transform ball, right? Because like a normal player should move according to the position of the ball. So like the enemy should also move according to the position of the ball, right? Now what we're gonna do is every frame we're gonna get a new position, right? So we're gonna get a vector 3 target position. We have everything. So what is target position? So new vector 3. So through new vector 3 we get a new vector 3, right? So the new vector 3 will be transform the position. X should be transform the position, obviously, right? Because we don't want any change in the x position. We want only a change in the y position, right? And the y position is gonna be ball dot position. And the z should be always 0, right? It should always be 0. Okay, we get an error. Sorry. Okay. Transform the position dot x, and this is called border position dot y, right? The y. The transform the position dot x means that like, it's always on the same, right? It's always on the same. Set the like position. We can also set the position to 8, right? Like we can also set to 8, but I'm gonna set it to transform the position dot x on like professionality. Now what you're gonna do is transform the position will be always be vector 3 dot move towards. Like I have to explain everything. To see the code. Transform the position to target pause and at speed. So now what is this? What is this happening? Like, okay. So now the transform position means like the enemy's position is always going to be vector 3 move towards. So what does vector 3 move towards do? Okay, so what vector 3 move towards do is it moves vector 3 incrementally. So incrementally towards the target point. Like, it makes the object move towards a particular point with speed, with the speed it has set. So and it returns a new position. Okay, through which by time like, the time passes, it's gonna be getting like go into that position. Okay, so it's simple, but still, right? So there are three values: the target transform position, the position in which the enemy is, and it has to go towards the target position at the particular speed, right? Incrementally at that speed. Okay, so now say this way. Okay, I forgot. I think we're gonna also multiply by time. So now let's start with the ball. So now this is just a little bit easy. This is very easy. So let's first of all let's set a slow that speed, right? And it's 25. Okay, and then we're gonna set the speed of set rigid point to like the physics handler. So it handles the physics, right? And now let's get started with the update. So now let's get start to start. So when the game starts, we want the ball to launch. While launch. Okay. Now when the ball will start, we want to launch. Get started, launch. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is it's very simple. Now we're gonna set we're gonna do a point flip type of thing, right? So we're gonna do what we're gonna do is if random dot value. So what does random dot value do? Is it returns random value between 0 and 1. So if the random value is greater than 0.5 float, right? If, like it's a 50% chance, then the transform then then the like we're gonna set a public float x velocity. Launch float. We're gonna create a float inside the function x. Okay, we can also set it like this also. Okay. Or either we can do it the long way, but I can we can do this like this way too. So what does this mean? So this means like if the random value is greater than 0.5, then set it to 1. If like it's true, then set it to 1 else -1. Now we can get now we can also set it to float y and we can get to set it to 1 or -1. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is so the float y will be a random number. Now what we're gonna do is creating vector 2. Okay. Vector 2 vector. It's gonna be new vector 2 x and y. And then we're gonna set the rigid body's velocity to linear velocity, right? Because velocity has been depreciated. We're gonna set it to vector of normalized into speed. Okay. So let's see the script. Now you can get the ball script in here and set the speed to 5. Another thing you need to do is freeze the position, X position of enemy and freeze the X position of player because we do not want the X position of player or enemy to change when it collides with the ball or the value. So now let's run the script. So you can see here, it's running. Works. Now we can increase the speed a little bit. Okay. Think so we should increase the speed. Maybe. So let's increase the speed. Increase the ball speed to 10, maybe. Okay, so the enemy lost. Increase the speed also to 5. Okay, now let's run the script. Man. Okay, so it's working pretty good. Like, it's fun to play. Now let's get to this. Now the solution is going to be pretty easy. We are going to create a U. We are going to go on UI canvas, legacy, and we're going to go on text. So now this creates a text, right? And text of a text can be changed in script. So now we're going to set the font to the font that I have chosen. I'm going to set it to 0. I'm going to set it to white, maybe. Okay, set its size a little bit bigger. Right. Okay, make it in here. Okay, get it in here and set it in the middle. Right. Set it to 0 or 1 off. Set it to 0 and then okay, what did it? Sorry. Okay, now you can rename it to score or player score, and this one too. You can rename it to the enemy score. Another thing is you can just what you can do is to make the game a little bit more like interactive or whatever. You can just get this out of here, right? Obviously, you can get this here. Okay, and what also you can do is reduce the size of the player, right? You can reduce the size of player because it's too huge, right? Because it's too large. You must have seen in the game of that there is no barrier scene. Okay, so alright, so now let's reduce its. You can go here, copy. Now let's copy its scale, and you're gonna paste it. Paste the scale. Okay, it's simple. Now you're gonna go and copy the text. Sorry, go here. Go and copy the text. How to copy the text if you ask. Okay, now it's pretty simple. Okay. Okay, so after setting up the score, what we need to do is we need to just copy a barrier. Okay, you can copy any barrier and set its rotation of z-axis. Sorry, z-axis to 90 degrees. Okay. Now what we want from this is we do not want it to get it a little back or something. No, it's fine, right? So like now what we need to do is remove it. We can set it as a and we can give it a tag. So give it a tag. So add tag and set it to player lose. Okay, and set this one go here. Set this one to can go here. Set this one to enemy lose. Set it to enemy lose. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to rename it. We can name it player lose. Player lose. This one to player lose. This one to enemy lose. Okay. Now we're gonna create a scripts. Okay. Now create C# scripts. Okay. I'm gonna give a script and name it to losed manager maybe. Name it manager. Okay. Because it's a manager for the losing or winning, right? So now what? Okay. So now you're gonna create a public float. Okay. Public float speed. So public float speed. We're gonna public float PS4. Public float enemy score. Public float enemy text. Float, no float. And now you're here using Unity engine .ui. This helps us to use the UI user interface, right, in the scripts. So now we can use text and we can go here and set to player score text, right? Go here and set to enemy score. Public text, set it to enemy score text, enemy score text, go on, right? Good, great. Now what we're gonna do is on collision enter 2D. Now what we're gonna do is if collision I'm gonna tell you collider.tag is equals to enemy lose. So what does it mean is the collision gives us and the game object that collided with us like the game object that has the script. So we get that object and we get that object collider's tag. We get the tag and we compare the tag is enemy lose. So if it's enemy lose, then the enemy has lost. So the player score will increase by 1 plus equals to 1. Now what we're gonna do is transform get component. Now we're gonna get component get a component of the ball. Get a component of the game object which is attached to the script to this like code. So get component ball. Okay. Dot launch. So we call the launch function. Okay. And we obviously gonna set the transform dot position to the vector 0 0. What does vector 0 mean? It refers to like vector 0 means we can say I'm gonna get here vector 3 dot 0 is same as 0 0 0. Okay. I hope you understand that. So now when we launch it, now this is out. Now we're gonna copy this and we're gonna paste it. When the player loses, the enemy score will get +1, obviously, and the transfer position will be 0. So these two codes will be same. And all the time what we want is simply that the player score or text is player score or to string. The to string we cannot set the player score. We cannot set a number to a text. Like a number cannot be set to a text. Only strings can be set to only strings can be set to a text. So we have to convert it to strings in the to string function. And we're going to do the same with the enemy score text. Now we're going to save all this. Okay, so now what we need to do is everything's mostly figured out. Now we set the player score text to this, the enemy score text to this, and done. Now let's run this and see if there is any error or not. Okay, maybe I lose if I lose. You can see here. So okay, you can see here. So that's it again, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to give you a homework, and that is when the enemy score gets to 10, you have to like print or like make a menu bar that gets enabled. You have to print that you lose, and when you win, you have to get print that you won, and you have to send the code in the comment section, and who the top 5 will get pinned. Okay, so that's it. Thanks for watching.